Hi, everybody. My name is Mathieu Dumais-Savard, and welcome to this breakout session of your virtual career fair called Scaling Amazon for Enterprises. I would like to remind you that this session is being recorded, and I would like to welcome you all and thank you very much for taking the time to and choosing us to spend the next 45 minutes together. You will be learning more about Amazon business in presence of my amazing coworkers, Anna and Fabian. My name is Matthew, like I said. I'm originally from Canada, Quebec, and now I live here in Spain, but I worked for Amazon also 4 years in Seattle before coming here. And I'm a senior software development engineer, and also familiar with the letters here. My first career was Amazon. Like I started in 2012 and I got promoted from junior engineer all the way to senior engineer. So if you have any questions about career path towards the end, you can definitely ask me. Anna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you for joining today. Yeah, I'm from Venezuela. I have been in Amazon for 3 years. I'm a software development manager at Amazon Business. And I started as a technical program manager and moved to software development manager.
Hello, everybody. My name is Fabian Padilla. Thank you for joining today. About myself, I'm from Colombia, originally from a small city called Casillas. I started in Amazon 2.5 years ago, kind of. I'm part of the Amazon Business International team. And I started as a technical program manager back then. I moved to the software development manager role 1 year ago, kind of. And yeah, I'm part of this great team, which is Amazon Business. So.
Great. Thanks, everybody, for the introduction. Before we get deeper into the content that we have to offer, I would like to encourage you to use the chat window only for questions, and we will be reading through that box and for the Q&A session. Unfortunately, we will be the only one talking on video in this meeting, but it will help us remain focused on the content. Speaking of content, the agenda for today is what's Amazon Business, who are our customers. Might not be immediately obvious to people what are enterprise customers doing with Amazon. We will also be covering which features we have developed here in the Madrid Tech Center. We will cover some of the frequent technical challenges that we have to address to make Amazon enterprise ready, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A session. So yeah, without further delay, Fabian will take on the lead here to tell us about Amazon Business and our customers.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. So what is business to business, right? So let's start with that. So business to business refers to all business transactions between companies rather than transactions between companies and individual consumers like you guys. And this is known as B2C, business to consumer. When you, as individuals, buy stuff in the supermarket or in an online store, that's considered a B2C transaction, right? But when a company instead buys, I don't know, the cleaning materials or the office supplies in an online or physical store, that's considered a B2B transaction. So, and we have found that the employees for these companies are looking for tools that are easy and intuitive as the ones that they use in their personal lives. So, because that impacts their productivity at work, and that has a direct effect on the company's ability to innovate and grow. So some examples about that, a construction company like ACS here in Spain, Actividades de Construcción y Servicios, the one that is owned by Florentino, for the people that like football like me. When they buy all the raw materials for companies, that's a B2B transaction. Also, a restaurant like Diverso, the one with the Michelin stars that you maybe know in Madrid, when they buy groceries or for the food they prepare, or Iberia, when they buy the office supplies, that's also a B2B transaction. And in the government transactions are also considered B2B. When they buy parts or maintenance for the vehicles in the EMT, or they buy for pharmaceutical supplies for the public hospitals, that's also a B2B transaction. And it's not just constrained to physical goods, it's also about services. So when a company like Iberia again hires services from a legal firm, that's also a B2B transaction. Okay. So what we have found that our business buyers want, they also want the easy of use of Amazon, like the intelligent shopping choices based on behaviors or the fast checkout process we have. The transparency, having this level playing field for product offers and supplier ratings is also very good looking for them. Enhanced fulfillment, like fast, convenient shipping that all of you maybe have buying from Amazon, plus other particular features for them, like supplier consolidation, when they would like to get all the packages at once coming from multiple suppliers and maybe not have them one by one as consumers. And who are the customers? So we can classify our customers in 4 different segments, depending on the level of the procurement maturity they have. So we have the starting phase, in which basically they have one person running all the procurement process, and it's just a small piece of running the business. Then they go to the emergent state, maybe when it's one person, but it has other financial responsibilities. We have now the growing stage, when they have advanced processes in several divisions, but not as a company-wide organization. And finally, the optimizing, when they have a centralized procurement organization with specialized roles to handle the process. And as you can see in the graph, we can put different types of companies in the maturity process, like from the micro to the big enterprises. Micro being the bakery, the local bakery in the corner, small and medium businesses that are starting the businesses like a startup, and then the big ones like Repsol, for example. So imagine one company like that they should have a centralized procurement system, organization, and they are managed by specialized teams. Going to the next one. And as part of this customer, we have different profiles, from individual budgets to accountants or system integrators. All of them could have common processes, but at the same time, some of them are completely different. Like, for example, the system integrator, which is in charge of integrating the procurement systems together or with other companies like Amazon, for example. So our solution should include them all and provide the right features and functionalities to make their jobs easier. Those are our customers. So, Anna, you can take from here.
And hi. Yeah, and what do our customers actually need, our business customer? So I love this quote from Jeff Bezos, where he says that no matter how great you are doing, customers are always going to be beautifully and wonderfully dissatisfied. And there is where our team comes in. There is where Amazon Business Tech comes in. We are in charge of providing this great experience that Amazon has for B2C customers, also for B2B customers. This is just a small example of different features that we have developed since Amazon Business exists or started in 2015. And as of today, there are 4 tech centers across the world. There are 2 in the United States, one in Seattle and one in Austin. There is one in India and the one that is here in Madrid. We all work closely together. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the features that we have developed here in Madrid as examples. One of them is, for example, the Prime program. The same way that you are familiar with the retail or the B2C Prime program, there is an equivalent B2B specific set of features that we have developed over time that are specifically used for at companies. And as Fabian was explaining, we have adapted this suite of this set of features based on the company size. So there are different type of plans based on each type of company needs. And what is the difference of the things that we may provide to any B2B customers, the kind of things that we are providing to business Prime customers. For example, as a company, you need to be able to set up a business account with multiple groups, multiple users, approval workflows. That's a super common need in organizations. On top of that, if you have Prime, you can also set up specific rules to actually guide your employees towards the products you want them to buy. So you can actually customize the Amazon experience so that when an employee is searching, I don't know, for chairs or for a pencil, well, he will find exactly the one that the company wants them to buy, or the suppliers that the organization is familiar or prefers to work with. Another example is, for example, reporting. This is typical in the B2B world. So we provide a set of reports so that companies can actually see how they are purchasing across their groups. And for Prime, we, on top of that, provide dashboards and analytical tools so that they can fine-grain the analysis. Or, for example, for pricing, we have specific prices for business or quantity discounts. For Prime customers, on top of that, we also offer progressive discount that takes into account your history or how the different employees are buying across time. And if you reach a certain volume, you can have access to additional discounts. The same with shipping. And this is similar to the retail benefit. No, we have enhanced delivery. In companies, shipping is very particular and very different than the retail shipping. I'm going to put just an example. This is actually on Prime Day in our office, in our team. It was completely like the amount of packages that we received. Actually, we had to set up a secondary room to put them all together. You cannot deliver like this, like as an individual, you can receive several packages, but as a company, you cannot just get, they buy thousands and thousands of items. You cannot deliver them individually. So we consolidate them, or we have pallet delivery for them. I'm going to also show some example in the actual Amazon pages for you to see the type of features that we build. For example, here, this is this signal that you see here, where you are saying, okay, this is the item, this is preferred by your organization. This is set up by the admin, and he says, okay, these are the products or these are the sellers that I prefer my employees to buy, so that when an employee goes in, he can clearly see which are the ones that their company wants. The same for pricing. You have here also an example where you can see how for this particular item as well, there is a specific discount because you are a business customer. So if you buy 100 units, you have a better price. Another example is approvals. That button when you buy at Amazon that you say, okay, proceed to checkout. For companies, we provide capabilities for them to actually set up approval workflow so that when you click that button, it triggers notifications to an approval chain, and they can easily just approve or reject the purchase, and then it goes as usual. Okay, so in order to build this, we also want to explain a little bit the main challenges that we have from a technical team point of view. One of the challenges is, for example, okay, at the size of Amazon and at the scale of Amazon, where there are so many features and so many teams, how can we actually deliver fast and with high quality? So one of the solutions that Amazon has found for that is this concept of two pizza team, where each tech team is a small team that if you can, the team is satisfied with two pizza, it's big enough. If you need a third pizza, that team is too big, so it's going to start having trouble actually getting up to speed with all the features that particular team is owning. So we prefer small but expert teams. A very important concept for a two pizza team is that it needs to be autonomous. So we from a business and technical point of view, each team is in charge of taking their own long-term and short-term decisions. Normally, teams have the enough roles and to take business decisions and technical decisions. For example, normally we have a product manager in each team that I always say he's like the CEO of the startup, of this small team. He has the business vision, he sets up what are the priorities and goals for the team. We also normally have a senior SD, like Matthew, that have this long-term vision and guides the team towards what is the right architecture and what are the right technical decisions and long-term strategy that we should set up. So we can work autonomously, and we are responsible for the entire end-to-end development cycle, from roadmap definition and design until operation. And how do we work with partner teams? And don't get me, because there are dependencies. Well, what we do is that at Amazon, any team can contribute to any other team. It's like an open source project where you can contribute to any other team. They may review and guide you, but you can contribute so that you don't get blocked. And now Matthew can continue. I think you're mute, Matthew.
My bad. Now that the manager told you about all the pretty stuff, the stock photos and all the value we're creating for our customers, let me show you a little bit under the hood. I think some of you are technical and are expecting this content, so allow me to brutalize you. Here's how we have decided to model a business at Amazon Business. As you can see, we're looking at a directed graph who's rooted at legal entity. Legal entity for us is an incorporated business. Why not just do business? We assume that legal entity through time get purchased, merged, divided, and that it would be really, really hard to sort of take our business account and start splitting it along these axes. So our customers come in and they create legal entities. They have employees in them, and then they create these buyer groups. They associate people, addresses, payment instrument, and various business rules to these groups. So you can imagine here a company like Amazon that's 20 years in operation and has evolved around a famous service-oriented architecture. If you can show me the next slide, Anna. You can imagine that having cross-cutting concerns like these ones can be quite complicated through time, and I will come back to that in a second. Another frequent challenge that we have is causal distance. The way that we integrated Amazon Business with the rest of Amazon relies mostly on a bunch of asynchronous processes. They maybe start from a user in their browser clicking on a link that triggers a change in a system, that triggers a notification in another one, that triggers a workflow, and that triggers a message. And then is our point of integration, and we later will send you a message and a notification and a workflow. And then you can imagine that the chain of events is extremely large. To give you an example of why that's a problem for us, imagine that you are a retail Prime customer. Your subscription is about to expire. We will send you a notification saying by email that in a few days your subscription will renew, and that is the price, and these are the benefits that you're getting, and that's awesome. Now imagine that we're at a large company like Cepsa, and that the person who bought Business Prime has left the company, and that they who do we send the notification to? Like, can you see how the system is sort of getting deeper and deeper? What if we send notification to the wrong person and that person is not reachable? So in a way, a lot of our teams are spending a lot of their resources keeping track of where the data is in all this pipeline of data. And in order to do that, one of the ways we are organizing is try to move away from, PubSub, SNS, SQS sort of implementation, more towards workflows that represent and allow us to visualize business processes, like using AWS Step Function, for instance. Next slide. So like I mentioned earlier, Amazon is famous for being a service-oriented architecture. We have in the past here had this rendering where each service that has a dependency to another one, a little edge on a ball. And when I started in 2012, that ball would already crack the latest browser, and it would basically be just a black circle. You couldn't see anything. And so service-oriented architecture are great in terms of ownership and allowing each team to innovate individually. But they're very challenging to work across cutting concern, like the one I showed before. One of the challenges, again, for us is imagine before us, the buyer of an item and the payer for that item was always the same customer ID. And now what we're experiencing is that the payer is a totally different entity from the person who's placing the purchase in front of the screen. So how many different systems do we have to modify in order to arrive to that notion that buyer and payer are not necessarily the same? This can be quite challenging. Also, can I get the next slide? Okay. The final challenge for us that is a recurring topic is unbounded data structure. What I mean by that is, as all good startups, Amazon experiments all the time with a two-pizza theme like Anna described. What that means is that a very tiny set of people create the very first version of Amazon Business in a year just to test the water and see whether or not the experiment would start. That they were building everything on a relational database and as simple as possible, right? If you're an engineer and you have to build Amazon Business inside Amazon in 12 months, you're going to basically cut corner in the name of speed, minimum viable product, something that's well understood in the industry. Now, what this means for customers, as we're onboarding giant customers and enterprise customers that have hundreds of thousands of addresses and tens of thousands of procurement credit card and things like that, we're starting to see pages like the checkout address listing page explode, just pure timeout. It needs to be redesigned around the concerns of enterprise customers. Same goes for the payment page or the your order page. Now imagine the complexity in searching on orders, but by permission in rows and groups and all in finite latency, and all while protecting our customers' trust by encrypting data and applying the highest security standard that the industry has to offer. So these are quite challenging things. Also, for those of you who are fans of tier one services or who know what that means, we classify services as important if they would block you from making a purchase at Amazon. We call these tier one services. And you'll notice that our tier one services never have downtime. That means that we've moved from that simple hacked MySQL environment all the way to these enterprise supporting super awesome feature without ever having downtime on our website. So everything that we do is carefully planned, and all the migrations that we do are always when the system is running hot with millions of customers visiting the site while we flip the switch. So if you're interested to know how we are doing that, of course, I encourage you to apply to one of our open positions. It is for me quite interesting, at least. Next slide, please. Also, I want to bring up the fact that Amazon Business doesn't only care about business customers. Some of the innovation that we've developed here is actually helping all of Amazon grow. To give you a few examples, the approval process that we spoke about earlier is also used in the backend by the Amazon Teens program, which lets parents define a budget and approval rules for letting their teens buy on Amazon without sharing their credit card with them. Also, we're having a pharmacy category where we can leverage features for business customers, like only sell these medical devices to people that have a medical license and only show that selection to these customers. Also, we have built an account switching feature that lets people with multiple accounts, like a business account, maybe a retail account for home, they can switch easily between accounts. And another good thing is, I just want to tell you why Amazon cares about Amazon Business. Our customers tend to buy more units than retail customers, right? So they put more things in the box and they call less often and they order more often and they require less service calls. So for us, it is a great drive things that we can pass down on business customers with all of our programs. So why do Amazon Business matter? We keep going here with Fabian.
Okay, thank you, Matthew, for that interesting description of all the challenges we have. So after all of this information about the customer solutions and challenges, I think you might be wondering about how big is Amazon Business, right? So, well, I have this slide that summarizes some of the facts and figures we have. So we serve millions of customers, buyer and sellers partners, because both are customers for us, around the world with presence in 8 different countries: US, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain. and India. Our seller partners make up for more than 50% of the 10 billion annualized sales globally we have currently as part of Amazon Business. And we offer access to almost 150K sellers in the US alone to access to hundreds of millions of products from hundreds of thousands of businesses sellers around the world. So this is how Amazon Business, this is the size of Amazon Business. And after 5 years of being launched in the US, it's still day one for us. The opportunity is huge as compared to the B2C market. And so all of you can help us to grow even more. So there is a lot of room to grow. So as Matthew said, if you are interested on getting more information about us, just let us know, apply for any open position, and we are here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabian. We will now open the floor for a few question and answer from the chat room. I think I can answer Alejandro's question right away. Alejandro asked, tech-wise, is this approval workflows that happens behind the scenes design a business process model that Amazon created like a BPM engine? Not sure if I'm allowed to ask. That's actually on the front page of our business offering. We will integrate with enterprise procurement platform, and that will plug into the approval process. So essentially, our approach here is two-pronged. For small and medium companies, they go on Amazon's website, they click the approve button, and the order is dispatched. And for enterprise customers, we plug inside of their procurement platform, and their system sends us the CXML that defines when an order gets approved and what gets approved and why and where. So I guess the answer is yes. Ezekiel asked, maybe Anna, can you explain the roles in a team in Amazon Business? I think we did in the slides.
Yeah, I can explain better. Well, as I mentioned, like we are like small startups. So what are the roles that normally are in a team? The product manager, which for me he's the CEO. He defines the business strategy, goals, features, what is the long-term roadmap that we want to build. We normally have UX designers. They have a super critical role to really understand and research about our different type of customers and validate that the experience is innovative and enough for the features that we are building, that they are really delighting the customers with the things that we bring to them. Senior SDs normally are leaders of they define as I mentioned, like Matthew, the long-term architectural vision of an organization or a team. They guide the rest of engineers when reviewing designs or taking technical decisions. And we have the SDE, which is they are in charge of implementing all and they're like SDEs at Amazon have full ownership of the different initiatives that they are in charge of. So from design to operation, defining deployment plans or launch plans, is all their responsibility. And another role is the TPM, the technical project manager. I say TPMs are like the glue between teams. For large initiatives where multiple teams are involved, TPMs are both, and it's an interesting role because they are in charge of both the project or the project-oriented achievement of the plan and the technical one. Like they need to have a strong technical background in order to validate that from a technical point of view, all the teams are properly being are integrated and achieving the large initiative goal. Yeah. I think
Thank you, Anna. So there's a few questions here. Maybe Fabian, I don't know if there's anyone you feel you have the answer to.
Which one?
Well, I don't know if there's anyone you want to lift from the notes. If not, I can answer the easiest one. Miguel's asked, do you have any corporate values or something similar? That's probably the easiest. We have leadership principles. It's an ordered list of what we consider important, goes into cutting all the ties discussion we have whenever we have a hot debate. We always use these for promotion, for hiring. They're not written, actually they are written on the wall in MAD 12, I think, literally. But I will paste in the room here the link to our corporate values, which we call leadership principles. Actually, fun anecdote on this custom session, really the number one. And we often refer to people when they leave Amazon or when they move around, they say, I've been promoted to customer, because that's how important we think customers are in all of our discussions.
I think I can take the one about the main challenges Amazon business is facing from business development perspective. So yeah, I think in every new country we expand to, we always face some challenges, right? And in Spain, typically about regulations that are particular to the country. So, for example, when a business customer joins or tries to join Amazon Business, we need to validate that they are actually a business because of legal reasons, right? Which is different to the other marketplaces, at least UK, and France, because Italy works kind of the same. That slows a little bit the process for us to acquire more customers, because we need to do some checks, and depending on how quickly we can do that, we are going to get the business to grow in a faster manner. So we try to do everything as automatic as possible, but there are some pieces that we cannot just do that, and we need to run manual processes because there are no ways to do it different than that. So that's a challenge for us, and we are always trying to automate that process to be able to get more customers as soon as possible, and also to provide the experience for them as quick as possible, because all of them are enrolling, trying to get the benefits from us as soon as possible. There are others, especially for big enterprises, related again to invoicing, related to the amount of sellers we have and how that is adding complexity to the internal processes to enroll all the sellers we have in the marketplace. So we are already providing solutions for that, but those are some examples of the challenges we have in order to make the business to grow in every country, and in particular for Spain.
And later, Alejandro asked, in terms of progression, I remember correctly, you started 8 years ago and moved all the way from junior to senior. How difficult was the process? Did you feel like you had the support of your managers at all times? That's quite a loaded question. I think the experience obviously will vary a lot from an individual to another, but for me, it was never really about getting promoted. It was almost always about the customer and getting the work done and finding fun in what I'm doing. Leadership, prominence, being trusted, and all of that stuff sort of like comes naturally afterwards, and so are the promotions. And nowadays at Amazon, employees are in charge of their promotion, documenting their achievements, and then basically presenting what they have done and why it's at the next level to committees of people. The guidelines are pretty clear and pretty visible. I think on the first day, everybody gets a norm document that explains what's a junior engineer, what's a normal engineer, senior engineer, all the way to principal and distinguished principal. So the expectations tend to be pretty clear. And for manager support part of your question, of course, one of the manager's top responsibility is hire and develop the best. As you noticed on our graphs, or if you look at anywhere where we talk about Amazon, you've noticed we've grown quite a lot. From me, I mean that when I started 8 years ago, we were 48,000 employees, and now I believe we're 1 million something. I've lost count. So that means that managers are basically always hiring and always growing the talent that they have inside the team. It's so much harder to find a senior engineer out there on the market than it is to take one of your best engineer and work on getting them promoted. Like it's almost always a better path for managers.
Yeah, I think there is one about the size of the teams. Try to be in the bare minimum to being able to perform the whole project. Yeah, we have big projects, and they cannot just be handled by one team. So we need to split the work between several sometimes. And one of the key roles for that to happen is the technical project manager and also the program manager, which is one of the roles that Anna was mentioning, because we need to coordinate the different efforts, define the most complex solutions to work first, to try to get or identify all the potential risk, and try to avoid any challenge, or not challenge, but any action that or risk by itself that can delay our goal to deliver. So yeah, we have in our organization we have different examples about multiple teams, 5, 6, that are working towards the same goal, and that's typical. So there are a lot of challenges of managing these kind of projects, especially from the project management perspective. Are we taking? Do we have time for another one? Or?
I think we have time for one more. So somebody asked, among all the country where AB is live, which country Amazon found it most challenging in terms of demanding customer? I cannot necessarily answer to this, but what I can say is challenging when launching in new countries is each country has a different set of cultural norms and cultural and regulations. Like in Japan, customers don't necessarily behave the same as in Europe, and regulation in Europe keep protecting customers' right and sort of forcing us to adapt to a changing environment, and similarly in India and in North America. So it's really launching a new country is a large project. Like it's not necessarily like we're going to interview customers and tailor our offer. Product managers in each country are actually settled to give us requirements on that side by being local. So for instance, when we launched Amazon in Japan, Amazon Business, we had a team of product manager there in Japan sort of telling us the voice of the customer from a Japanese perspective, which is really interesting. For example, we have a feature in Japan that's kind of funny. On the cart page, you can download a PDF of your cart page with a little stamp in the corner, a little red graphic that's just mean this is certified by Amazon. And in Japan, where paper is really important, our customers really felt like they couldn't navigate our business website if they didn't have that PDF that they could print. Even though price could change all the time until the order was placed, that was like a Japanese specific feature. So I think we're running out of time. Again, I would like to extend my thanks to all of you for showing up with so much curiosity and interest in Amazon Business. We'll now encourage you to continue with the rest of the career fair by clicking. Well, there's no clicking. It's a presentation.
I can put the link. Give me 1 second on the chat room so that they can click to the next.
I assume y'all know where to click. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. And thanks everybody again.